well, just so I can share it after. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and divide the session into two, go a bit through the indicators, but also look at the charts. So the first thing I want to do for our newbies, you should have the VTG launch document already. So it's vitally important that you use the launch document in terms of making sure that you're going through the correct pathway and that you've got everything set up. So I'm going to share my screen in a second. Just bear with me. Okay, let's see. All right, brilliant. Just going to let a few more people into the room. Okay. Okay, brilliant. So I'm going to do my best to talk through setting up the indicators shortly, but I don't want to spend too long on it because, that's all right, Stella. I don't want to spend too long on it because there's obviously a recorded video that shows you how to do that. And I also want to make sure that I'm adding value by going through examples on the harmonic scanner and showing you, where those confirmations are as well. So I'm going to try and do a bit of both. Okay, but I just want to point out how important it is to use the launch document. If you're lost, if you've just started, you're unsure about where to access the harmonic scanner, what the scanner source is, we do have information on the launch document. This video is vitally important you watch this in terms of understanding how the harmonic scanner works. And then on the go live, you've got a video that shows you exactly how to set up the indicators. Okay, so I really want to be using these sessions to go through examples. So this is on the go live. So the video you want is here. So it's under Manny Quinones' favorite sessions, and it's the scanner source video. Okay, so you really want to go through that when you get a chance, because that's going to break it down. And the good thing is it means you can pause the video and set up the indicators as you're watching it. Okay, so that's really important. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to go through some examples first. I'm supposed to add value to the people who already have the indicators set up and just kind of want to look at it in real time. And then towards the end, I will talk about the indicators and getting those set up. Okay, so please bear with me. Again, put any questions you have in the chat and we will get started. Okay. So for those of you who don't know how to access the Harmonic scanner, if you just type in harmonics.im, it will ask you to log in with your IM account. So just log in with that, and then you'll get access to the Harmonic scanner. So I've already got the indicators set up. So I'm going to go through the confirmations that you would look for. And then I'll talk about how the indicators are set up after. So what I want to just do is maybe find a few good examples that I can use. So I know that there were a few good examples on the 1 hour. Let's just make sure my phone is still on. Okay, let's see how this one's going. So this one moved a bit. I'm going to go on the 1 hour because I know there were a few good examples. I saw Euro GBP in the chat and in the Discord group and so on. So let's just have a look at a few examples. Okay, so a lot of these trades have moved a tiny bit, but haven't moved a lot. So what I'm going to do is try and just look for examples where you could have at least got a few pips from them to start off with. Let's have a look. Okay. Let's see this one. I'm just going to go on the left and go into the 15-minute. I just want to see if there's a better entry for this one. No, don't like that one. What I'm going to do, because I did see a good one before, is look for let's see, if I put this into the 15-minute, and then I can kind of explain what we're looking for. Will it let me go into the 15? Maybe not. Okay, none of them want me to go into the 15-minute now. Could have sworn I was on the 15-minute a second ago. So let me just get this loaded up again. All right, I might have to use a different broker if it doesn't let me go on the 15. Okay, brilliant. Okay, so I'm going to use this one here as an example of a trade. Okay, so what I've just done here, just to kind of explain, on the right hand side, you've got your time frames. So I went into the H4, which is the 4 hour. So that just means every candle represents 4 hours. And then what I did, because we don't want to wait 4 hours to get into the trade, is I went on the left hand side and changed the time frame from 4 hours to 15 minutes. So what that does is it just breaks it down so you can find an earlier entry into the market. And it just means that every candle is now 15 minutes. So if I just scroll to the bottom, you'll see at the bottom, we've got 7:15, 7:30, and so on. Okay, so I just wanted to use this as an example of where you could look for an earlier entry into the trade. Now, this one has moved up a bit and moved down a bit, but I thought I would use it to just go through the confirmations. Okay, so you still would have been able to, get whether it's 20, 40 pips from this example just by using the confirmations. Okay, so in terms of how the scanner source strategy works, there's particular confirmations that you're looking for, and when you get a tick for all of them, you look to enter the trade. Okay, because when it comes to trading Forex in particular, one of the things that people tend to struggle with is, okay, where do I actually enter the trade? And so by having these indicators on and using these confirmations, it gives you a better indication of where to enter the trade. Okay, so the first thing you want to do on the scanner source, and I'll just make this full screen, is the DC channel. Okay, so the DC channel on the harmonic scanner is this line at the bottom. Okay, so when you're looking for a buy, you will look for the blue line at the bottom. Okay, and when you're looking for the sell, you'll have a red line at the top. Okay, so mine's a bit confusing because I've got another line, but this straight line is the DC channel. And so the first confirmation you want is, first of all, you want the D to be near the entry. Okay, because if it's not near the entry, say it's above the entry, there's probably still room for movement in the market, but you want the D to be as close to the entry as possible. So we're near the entry, that's important. And the first thing you want is your DC channel. So you want price to bounce off the DC channel around your entry area. Okay, so again, I've gone into a lower time frame, which is why it looks a bit weird. The D should really be here. Okay, but as you can see, price, when it touches the DC channel, it bounces off, and that's exactly what you want. Okay, so that's our first confirmation. Our second confirmation is with our Hakinashi candles. Okay, we want a candle that closes and crosses above the 4 McGinley, which is my blue line. Okay, so with a buy, we want a flat bottom candle. So you notice these candles here are flat bottom. Okay, so we want a flat bottom candle closing above the 4 McGinley. Oops. So just checking my phone. Okay. So that's our next confirmation. Okay. So we got a couple of candles here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back out of this. and I'm going to draw a line. Okay, I'm going to draw a line on my first candle, and then we're going to work our way down. So if I just click on the vertical line here, okay, so I just went in my tools, vertical line. I'm going to start with this one here, okay, because this was the first candle that closed above the 4 McGinley and was a flat bottom candle. Okay. So our next confirmation is we're going to go on the stochastic. Okay, so this is our stochastic here, another indicator. And when we're in a buy, we want the blue to be above the red. Okay, so if I draw a line in the same area and zoom in, you will see that the blue is currently above the red at that point in time. So far we've got one confirmation, we've got our flat bottom 2, we've got a cross above the 4 McGinley 3, and we've now got our blue above the red, which is a fourth confirmation. Okay. Next, we've got the awesome oscillator. Okay. So at that same point, for a buy, we want a blue line, and for a red, we want a red line. So you'll see on my awesome oscillator, where I've drawn this black line, we've gone from a red bar to a blue bar, okay, which means that it's moved from the sellers in control to the buyers in control, okay? So we've got another confirmation there. So our last confirmation is on the DMI. Now for the DMI, if I draw my line, there's two things we're looking for on the DMI. Okay, so the first thing we want is when we're looking for a buy, the blue line needs to be above the red. Okay, so at this point in time where I drew this black line, the red is still above the blue. So technically the buyers aren't in control yet. Okay, but not only that, we want this black line here, which shows momentum, to be above the 40 mark. Okay, so the easiest way to check this is if you go back to your trend line tools on the left-hand side, you've got this horizontal line. Just draw it at the 40. Okay. So what I tend to do is, okay, so what I tend to do is, if it's not exactly on the 40, I will just double click into it and change the coordinates to 40. Okay, so it's exactly on the 40. Okay, so we can see that in this same area, we had the buyers get into control here, but the black line was still below the 40. And that didn't actually happen until this point here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is put my line here. So we've got the black gone above the 40, which means there's more momentum and the buyers are in control. Okay, I'm going to come out of my DMI and I'm going to move my lines to the same areas. Okay. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now that everything is aligned, we still got the blue above the red on the stochastic. And if I go onto my harmonic scanner itself, you will see that at this point, we had a flat bottom blue candle, okay, crossed above the 4 McGinley again, okay, and everything is aligning up. So this candle here, when everything aligns up, this candle becomes your entry candle and your confirmation candle and your entry candle zone. Okay, so what does that mean? So what you want to do, once you've spotted this confirmation candle, you need to wait for it to close. Okay, but what you want to do is with your paintbrushing tool, click on the arrow, get a rectangle, and draw a rectangle around that candle. Okay, from the wick to the body, and you can expand it out. And what this just means is anywhere within this rectangle, you can actually enter for a buy. Okay, so what I'll do is just change the color. Okay, so that's our confirmation candle there. okay? And I've just extended it from the wick to the body. So anywhere within that confirmation candle, you can enter this trade. So literally when that candle closes, you can get in for a trade, for a buy, okay? Now what you want to do while this candle's closing, so for example, I'm on the 15 minutes, so this would close after 15 minutes, whether that's at o'clock, quarter past, half past, or quarter to. What you want to do is while that candle is getting ready to close, you want to figure out, okay, where am I looking to enter roughly? Where is my stop loss going to be? And where's my take profit going to be? Okay. So the way to do that, what I recommend doing is, first of all, changing from your Hakinashi candles to your normal candles, just so you can get an exact price. Okay. So if we change it there to candles, okay. And then if I go back to the left, you'll see that where my line is, this is exactly where that candle was. Okay. And what you want to do is go for your position tool. So if you click on the arrow, you've got long position for a buy and short position for a sell. Okay, so long position for a buy. So what I could do is, let's say we waited for this candle to close. So the candle went up, but then it closed down here. I would put my tool there. Okay, so the red area is your stop loss. Green area is your take profit. Okay. So in terms of your stop loss, the way the scanner source strategy works is, once you've got that black line above the 40, that should show good momentum and show price should not come back out of this rectangle. So you can see that we're looking for a buy. Okay. And as you can see, for example, with this trade, as soon as that candle closed, the confirmation one, price continued to go up. So that's what's supposed to happen when you've got that momentum and everything is aligning. Okay. So in terms of your stop loss, we could have done a 20 pip stop loss, which would have been, extra safe. So if you're, very cautious, 20 pip stop loss, way away from that box. But even if we had done a 10 pip stop loss, okay, 10 pip stop loss is still outside of the box. And as you can see, price didn't go anywhere near it. Okay. Now, if I'd gone for a 10 pip stop loss, a 10 pip stop loss, I could have gone for a 10 pip TP for TP1. So that's a 1-to-1. And if we went for a 20 pip TP, you can see that it hit 20 pips there before retracing and coming back down and then going back up to the 20 pips there as well. Okay, just going to quickly get my door, but hopefully that is making sense so far. Okay, so as you can see, if you had gone for 20 pips, you would have secured your 20 pips there. Okay. So I just wanted to show you that as an example. So especially with the longer term trades like the H4 and the 1 hour, if you want to spot an earlier entry, you can reduce the time frame. Okay, and that will allow you to get in earlier. Okay. Any questions so far? Good question. So it really depends. So as the launch document says, if you are doing Forex, and we've got our Fantastic Four now. So two of the Fantastic Four are DeLorean and Scanner Source. So if you've got DeLorean, you'll want to try DeLorean first. That's the first priority. And then the Scanner Source is your second priority. Okay. Now, the harmonic scanner might look intimidating when you're just getting started, because obviously you've got the diagrams and so on. But the key thing is once you set up these indicators, it makes it a lot easier because everything lines up. Okay, so you're not having to guess, should I get in now? Should I not get in? All you do is set up these indicators. And then as soon as you get all of your confirmations, you can enter that trade. Okay, so what I would recommend if you are on the Forex package, for example, try both, try DeLorean and the Harmonic scanner, and then go for the one that is easiest for you. Okay. So let's see if I can find a few other examples. Again, we'll see if it will allow me to go into the 1 hour. Let's try the 15-minute. Okay, so this is GBP JPY on the 1 hour. But once again, what I've done is changed it to 15 minutes because you can look for an earlier entry in on the scanner source. Okay, so we've got another buy. Okay, once again, we're looking for the flat bottom Hakinashi candle to close above the 4 McGinley, which is our blue line. So we've got that there initially. Okay, so again, I can draw my line. Okay, so we've got that there. Again, our DC channel price bounced off it at the D, which is the confirmation that we're looking for. Okay, on our stochastic, if I draw a line there, we want the blue above the red, which it is. So that's another confirmation. And then on our awesome oscillator, we want a blue line, which we've got. Okay. And then lastly, on our DMI, again, we want the blue line above the red line, and we want the black line above the 40. Okay, so again, if I draw my line on here, just so I know where I'm looking. So I'm going to put my 40 mark. Okay, so we can see that at this line here, price wasn't above the 40. Okay, so I would have had to move this to that point here where price was above the 40. Okay, so if I move everything here, okay, we can see that on this candle here, we didn't have a flat bottom. So I would wait for the next candle where we did have a flat bottom. Okay, so once again, we've now got our confirmation candle. So we can put a rectangle around this box. And so, you know, if you're coming on the Harmonic scanner, you've identified the confirmation candle. If price is in this rectangle, you can still enter this trade. Okay, so just in case you don't spot the confirmation candle straight away, say you're in a few candles later, like here, as long as price is in that rectangle, you can still enter that trade. Okay, so once again, I can change my candles to my normal candles. Okay, so we've got our closing candle here. Okay, so you could have either entered at the top of that candle, or as you can see, price pulled back into this area. So you could look for 50% of that rectangle or half of that rectangle to look for a better entry into it, rather than, you know, entering right at the top of that rectangle, because it doesn't always just shoot up. You know, price has to retrace before going up and making waves. Okay. So let's say, for example, you had waited for a better entry, let's say about halfway of the rectangle here, because again, 20 pips is like your conservative stop loss. So I've got my 20 pips there, as you can see. Okay. And if I went for a 1-to-1, 20 pips there, as you can see, it did go up to 20 pips before retracing back to entry, and then it went up more. So it went up about 40 pips before then gradually retracing again. Okay. Any questions so far? Some people are still confused to how far to the right you drag the rectangle. Okay, so in terms of how far to drag the rectangle, it's really down to where you're looking at the where you're looking at the trade from. So for example, if you came onto the harmonic scanner and you literally saw it, say, on this candle. So say the confirmation candle's already aligned up, okay? But you then saw it on this candle here. What you would do is you would identify your confirmation candle first, okay? Which was this candle here. And let's say we were just there, we could stop it there and we can see that, okay, this candle is still in that confirmation candle area. So we're still okay to enter, okay? But let's say you came on to the charts, let's look at the time. So let's say you came onto the charts at 12 p.m. UK time, okay? You came to the charts at 12 p.m. UK time and you worked your way backwards to look, okay, where was my confirmation candle? So you found everything lining up, okay? And then you decided, can I still enter this trade? What you would do is once you've identified your confirmation candle, just drag it across, up to 12 p.m. or after. And then as long as the current candle is still in that rectangle, you can still enter that trade. Okay. You can still enter that trade. Okay. Does that answer your question? From the start. Do it from the start. Okay, brilliant, perfect. Yeah. So I just extended to show you that all of these candles here that were still in the rectangle would have been still valid to enter this trade. So even if the confirmation candle was at 8:15 a.m. in the morning, but then all of these candles all the way up to 12:30, 12:15, you could have still entered this trade here. Okay, but obviously, if you enter at the confirmation candle, that's going to be the most optimal entry zone. Okay, brilliant. You're welcome. Okay, perfect. Any other questions around that? Where do you link up your long tool? Where do you link up your long tool? Is that where do you get it, or where do you, when you say link up? Oh, line up. Okay, brilliant. Perfect. Okay, so what I like to do is when you get that confirmation candle, I always like to change back to the normal candles so I can see exactly where price is. Okay, because what you may find sometimes on different brokers, they have different prices. And so sometimes it might be at one price on the Hakinashi candles and another price on the normal candles. So I like to switch to the normal candles while my confirmation candles loading up. So they might be 5, there might be 10 minutes still left in that 15-minute candle. And I'll start to get an estimate of where that candle is looking to close. Okay. So I always say, 20 pip stop loss is like your safety. Okay. So for example, this candle closed up here, but if you lined that up and then you went 20 pips, you're still in the rectangle. Okay. And we know that price can move anywhere in that entry zone. So with a trade like this, I would ideally want to get in lower, because remember, when you're buying, you always want to buy lower and sell higher. So I would have wanted to get in lower. And what Manny says is you can look to get in at halfway in the rectangle, in the entry zone. Okay, so you could put your entry halfway, and then when it touches there, you decide to buy. If you want, you could potentially use a buy limit, for example, a pending order, but it's always better to actually market execute so you can see what's actually happening. Okay, so you can either, if you want to be aggressive, enter at the close of that candle straight away, or if you've got a bit more patience, wait and see if it does retrace lower and then get in for a better entry. Okay. Perfect. Any other questions? That's all right, Gary, you're welcome. Okay, so for our new members on the call who maybe haven't traded the scanner source before, what I want you to do for next week's training is go through the scanner source video that shows you how to set up the indicators. If you get stuck at all, we have a scanner source channel in Discord where you can ask questions. So if you're unsure about how to set up any of the indicators, what numbers to put in, all that sort of thing, please put your questions in the Discord, and one of the VT guides in there will be able to answer your questions. Okay, so what I want you all to do, if you haven't set it up already, get it set up for the next session next week so that everyone will have it set up and we can go through it in more detail. But I am wary that we've obviously now run out of time and don't want to keep you up all evening. So watch the recorded video for Manny's sessions so you can pause it and set up the indicators as you go along, and then put any questions you have as well in the Discord channel. Okay, and then yeah, we'll help and guide you and support you on the journey. I know that people have been putting potential trades to take and setups and things like that. So just, you know, engage with the group, ask questions. You can even take screenshots and say, you know, does this look correct? Does this look like it's going to work? And we can be able to guide you through that as well. Okay. So what I'm going to do is leave it there. But like I said, go through the video, set the indicators up, and then next week we'll go through it, more training, and go through it in more detail. Okay, but I hope this has been useful. I'll take any last minute questions and then we'll just wrap up for the evening. Okay, you're welcome. You're welcome. Okay. Okay, perfect. Doesn't look like we're gonna have any more questions. Okay. So if I do end the call and you do have any questions, again, just post them in the channel. Okay. So I'll speak to you all next week as we do more scanner source training. Okay, take care, everyone.